How's it going? So some days you just got to improvise. Let me show you what I got here. So here's the knock sensor for this Ford Ranger. The original motor that came out of this thing, it was a 3-liter, and it had a knock sensor on the right side of the block. Now, it had a bolt that went through it, just like this, to hold it to the block. Now, the problem is, the motor that we just put in does not have that same provision. It has, if you see there, those two bosses there. Actually, there's three. The middle one is kind of the one, actually just above it was another boss where the knock sensor was actually attached. So this motor does not have that. And what I wound up doing is I made that, because the bosses that are in this block are a larger size. The larger bolt won't pass through the opening in the knock sensor. So what I wound up doing is I made this stepped stud to thread right into the block. Now this is a flex fuel vehicle, so I got a funny feeling that's the difference between the flex fuel and the non-flex fuel is a knock sensor. That's why this block technically doesn't have one. Why they would make two different blocks is beyond me, but because they are interchangeable. You know, other years of flex fuel don't have a knock sensor. Matter of fact, you go to look one up, it doesn't even show that it has one. Well, guess what? It does have one. So in a case like that, it's like, what do you do? So sometimes you just got to improvise, you got to make your own stuff. So what I did was this stud that I made is actually a bolt, the larger size bolt. And what I did was I made sure I ran a die all the way down to the base of the head of the bolt. Then I ground down this part, you know, on a bench grinder, and then I ran a die all the way down it to make sure that it would fit into this knock sensor. Then I cut the head off of it, and I just chamfered the end a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread that into the block. I already cleaned the threads out in the block. So I'm going to thread that in, put a little Loctite on it just to be on the safe side. And then I'm going to slide the knock sensor right over top that stud and put a nut on it. It'll lock it in place. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. This actually is still that motor that looked like it was flooded. The customer wants to go ahead and put it in. So that's what we're doing. We're putting it in. And they absolutely know that if it doesn't work, they're paying for it. And guess what? If they decide they're not paying for it, we're going to own a Ranger. And it's actually a pretty decent little vehicle. So it's all on him. He feels good about the motor. So, you know, we got, you know, the motor does turn over. We ran tranny fluid into the cylinders and cranked it over and everything else, and everything was good. I basically just hot wired the starter just to crank it when I first got it installed in the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and continue with that and see how I make out. I'll keep you posted. So if you get anything out of my videos, hit the like button. If you could, please subscribe. It'll help me make more videos, better content. That's about it for right now. You guys have a great day. Keep wrenching.